In other news, United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is now thanking Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu for Israel's support of American action against Iran in the Middle East following the attack on the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, Iraq. Well, here now to discuss these events, we have Gregg Roman, the director of the Middle East Forum. So, first of all, why did this attack on the U.S. Embassy take place?
It's because the United States finally stood up to Iranian actions, which have been taking place in Iraq and other Middle Eastern countries over the past 6 months. The U.S. reacted, and the Iranians felt like they had to double down.
But why now? Why did it take so long for that reaction?
Because it was the first time an American contractor was killed. That kinetic fire from an Iranian-sponsored Shia militia terrorist organization led to the death of an American contractor. Once blood was spilled, America had to respond or look weak in the rest of the region.
So what are the implications of this response? I mean, we're seeing more troops heading to the region right now. How is this going to play out?
It either escalates further, where we'll have more tit-for-tat attacks, finally leading to potentially a direct confrontation between Iranian and American forces, or it'll continue to be a proxy battle. What we'll really tell is how the president, not how the Ayatollahs respond.
What do you think will be a more likely outcome, and what is Israel's role in all of this?
Well, Israel's been the only country allied with the United States, which has both taken hits from the Iranians and given it back. The Saudis haven't responded, the Emiratis haven't responded, the Egyptians haven't responded. It's the first time that we see anyone besides the Kurds fighting directly against Iranian interests. So now that the Americans have joined, perhaps the battle has been stacked against the Iranians rather than in their favor like it's been for the past few years.
Wow.
Now, it's interesting because I think it was about a week ago that the IDF Chief of Staff spoke out and said, we're alone in this battle against Iran. That's how it feels. And then all of a sudden, we see the strike. Is this perhaps a response?
No, Aviv Kochavi has been, for the last 9 months, I guess, since his appointment in March of last year now, always taken the battle to the Iranians on their front. He's been asking the Americans to join in, but it's been signals intelligence, inviting them to participate in exercises. But now you see for the first time the U.S. and Israel, hand in hand, both striking out against Iranian presence in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and the rest of the region writ large. So I think it's finally this coordination he's been asking for, showing that he's no longer alone in the fight.
Right. Now, I guess the final question is, because we're running low on time, would just be, if you could delve a little bit more into what this means for Israel right now, in the current state in which Israel has been battling Iran.
So you have had Iran manipulate the region for the last 17 years, since the Iraq War in March of 2003. And Iran was always one step ahead of almost everyone else, except for Israel. The U.S. was always behind fighting them. The Gulf allies were always behind fighting them. Israel was always sort of alone in its battle. But now that you've had regional discontent against Iran coming from the Syrians, from the Lebanese, from the Iraqis, and the Americans have now shown that they will no longer allow Iran to play the game by their rules, but now by American rules, I think this is a net benefit for Israel. And we'll see that the U.S. and Israel working together may actually come to have Iran backtrack its progress and perhaps go back to its borders rather than influencing us here on ours.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us with this update.